This year, the Parsha that we read on Shabbat Shuva, the Shabbat between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, is Haazinu, the song of Moshe. And it's a song that speaks about the past and the future, the good times and the bad times of the Jewish people. And in one sentence, Moshe Rabbeinu, our teacher Moses, says, Kilo Ketzurenu Tzuram, that our rock, Hashem, is not like their rock, V'oyevenu Plilim, and yet our enemies judge us. And Rabbi Steinsaltz, of blessed memory, has a very profound explanation on this phrase, V'oyevenu Plilim, our enemies judge us. In the normal course of events, when you have two people who have a disagreement, or perhaps when they are competing with one another on the field of sports, the referee, the judge, will be somebody objective. So, for example, at the World Cup, you could have England playing France. Well, the referee is not going to be an Englishman, it's not going to be a Frenchman. It's going to be somebody from Australia, some other time. Because if it is somebody from one of those teams, one of those countries, they are not going to be impartial. They are not going to be objective. They are going to be biased. Says Rabbi Steinsaltz, throughout our history, whenever we have been accused of something and we've had to stand trial and explain ourselves, it is our enemies who judged us. There was no objective, there was no impartial person. So, for example, during the phase of the Spanish Inquisition, before that and after that, when there were disputations, when there were debates, where rabbis were forced to debate the position of Judaism against Christianity, who were the judges? Well, Christian clergy. Well, what chance did they have to stand there? How could they possibly win? There was complete bias. So not only were we being judged, but we were being judged by our enemies. This year, we've seen an example of that, where South Africa took the state of Israel to the International Court of Justice in The Hague, accusing them of genocide. And unfortunately, the judges on that panel were not at all impartial or unbiased. And therefore, what was the chance of having a fair trial? All we ask for as the Jewish people in this world is to be judged fairly, to be judged with the same type of rules and standards as everybody else, but it seems we're not. We're held to a higher standard. And yes, it's true that Jewish people should set a higher standard, but very often it's completely unfair. So many countries are involved in brutality against minorities, and the UN Security Council will never say anything, will never pass any type of a proposal against them. And yet we see, when it comes to Israel, they are passing this law after this law and after this law and accusing the Jewish state of things that are not even true. And that's because the people who are judging us are not partial. The Oyevenu Plilim, our enemies judge us. So please, God, we should look forward to a time soon this year that if we do need to be judged, we will be judged by people who are not anti-Semites, who don't have an agenda, and who are fair. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.